Okay, so welcome everyone to the second webinar in this series of the webinar organized by KAICIID Fellowship Program, together with United Religion Initiative and Youth for Peace, youth-led organization from Bosnia and Herzegovina. It is my great pleasure to welcome all of you here today with us. And the topic of today's webinar is Interfaith Dialogue as an alternative to the hate speech. And why we choose to deliver this webinar on the 16th of November is because today is International Day for Tolerance, which is quite a significant day, and I think it is very important to discuss about topic as a hate speech, because unfortunately we are familiar that hate speech is in a rise all over Europe, but not just in Europe, all over the world. And unfortunately now, when we are all spending so much time on the internet and at home, there is more people who are misusing this new technology and social media to spreading the hate. And we think that religious community plays quite important role into providing alternative and combating hate speech. So that is the reason why we decide today to discuss about interfaith dialogue as an alternative to the hate speech. As I said, it is the second webinar in a series of 3 webinars that we are organizing as a part of the KAICIID Fellowship Program. KAICIID is, as you probably know, International Dialogue Center, and the KAICIID Fellowship Program brings together leaders and educators from different religious backgrounds from all over the world, and it provides them training in dialogue, facilitation, intercultural communication, and also promoting social cohesion. And all of these trainings are delivered by KAICIID expert. So my colleague Amina and myself decide as part of our fellowship project to deliver this series of webinars. And beside the series of webinars, we also deliver offline workshop for the youth people in Bosnia and Herzegovina, trying to teach them some skills on how they can combat hate speech. Beside the KAICIID Fellowship Program, co-organizers of today's webinars are Youth for Peace, which is a youth-led organization from Bosnia and Herzegovina that believes that young people of diverse religion and spiritual expression coming from different cultures and tradition backgrounds from Bosnia and Herzegovina, but also from the Western Balkans, established Youth for Peace organization in order to promote dialogue, interfaith and inter-ethnic cooperation, and also try to contribute to the end of any kind of violence and to create culture of peace and justice for youth people. And lastly, we have United Religion Initiative, European branch, and United Religion Initiative is a grassroots interfaith network that cultivates peace, justice by engaging people to bridge religious and cultural differences, and also to work together for the good of their communities and also to the world. So we are quite happy that we were able to bring these 3 great organizations together in order to deliver this series of webinars. As you all see at the beginning, we have 3 speakers on today's webinars, and it is my great pleasure to introduce the first one, that we have our dear colleague who is also KAICIID Fellows, and we are quite happy that he accepted our invitation to join the webinar. That is our dear colleague Krishna Kripadasa. He is a Hindu priest and also president of the Hindu Federation of Spain. He is the son of an Indian Hindu father and a Spanish Catholic mother, so he grew up in an interreligious family. He is the author of the 18 books, and we know that one is also in the making, mainly about Hinduism. And since 1999, he is very active in the interreligious dialogue in Spain, as well as in another European countries, but also all over the world. So dear Krishna, floor is yours, and we are really looking forward to hear what you have to say to us about topic of interreligious dialogue as an alternative to the hate speech and to combating hate speech.
Namaste. Hello to everybody. Thank you very much to my dear KAICIID fellow colleagues, Amina and Leila, and also to Vladimir and Jamie that will share the screen today. It is a privilege for me to participate in this important topic, hate speech. And what can we do from the interfaith or interreligious dialogue? As you mentioned earlier, we can see almost every day in the different social media, like Facebook, YouTube, everything, that people are using these tools for creating troubles, havoc among the different religious or cultural communities. Let's start what Hinduism think about the interfaith dialogue. No? Hinduism recognizes that the truth is available in all other belief systems, in all other religions. And you can see in India, putting the example of India because it's the motherland of Hinduism, that the people coexist there, like Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Buddhists, any religion you mention in the world have a space in India due to the tolerance of Hinduism among other religions, because we respect their belief and we recognize there is truth also in those beliefs. So when people use, especially among politicians or religious leaders, so-called religious leaders, because if you have the responsibility of guiding a fellowship or faithful people, you have to be very careful with message you deliver to them. You have to share a message of love and not only tolerance, and more comfortable with the word coexistence. That tolerance sometimes sounds, or at least in Spanish sounds, tolerant is you have to tolerate something bad from the people. And coexisting is we can live together peacefully, and we must recognize our differences and what we have in common. So against the hate speech, when people make derogatory remarks, insults, and try to promote violence against any other community, we have a very important responsibility to share a message of understanding and peace, and how we can create this environment, how people fell in love. The people fell in love when they know each other. And sometimes the problem of hate speech, besides those who have really bad intentions, like some politicians, some religious leaders, is lack of knowledge about other religions and lack of basic education on interreligious dialogue. So it is important from the very beginning, from the childhood, from the school, to share what is the belief found in other religions. I can teach my son how to be a good Hindu, but also I must teach him to respect other religions, why they pray different, why they have different beliefs, what they dress different, why they eat different. So he can have an understanding that we are not the only good, or we are not the only one who have the control of the truth, or we are not the only one we are going to heaven, or so-called blessed. So we should start from the school, teaching the children, the teenagers, the youngsters, about the importance to know and respect any other forms of belief. So this kind of work that you are doing now with this webinar is really important, to share what other religions have to teach, what we can have in common, how we can live together in a peaceful way. Problems, there are always going to be problems and misunderstanding and fighting. Even we have within Hinduism and any other religion, there's always some disagreements, but we should try to cooperate. It's like, as you mentioned earlier, I'm working in a new book, which is called Nature and Spirituality. So we are in that book, we are including different philosophies, different point of view, from Islam, from Judaism, from Christianity, from Buddhism, from Hinduism, and other religions, minorities like Baha'i faith or Church of Unification, what they have to say about preserving the planet, the only home that we have. And we have to share, we have to live together, even if we don't like. So this different topic, we must create a wall, a defense against the hate speech. And even we have to have to empathize when the hate speech is directed to another religious group. If somebody deliver a hate speech to Muslims, even he's not addressing my faith, I must support those people who are suffering from this kind of hate speech, because today they are suffering this hate speech, tomorrow maybe us. So we should work together, that when some faith, some religious is the point of some hate speech from politicians, from another religious group, from another ethnic, we should join together and support those other people, because we cannot be blind, we cannot be deaf and saying, okay, they are saying these things to them, not to us. So for this reason, I'm explaining that first, education, of course, knowledge. And knowledge is very important, that we open ourselves. If we keep our tradition as a secret, or we don't want to share, or this ritual is only for Hindus, you are not allowed to join on this, if we stay in this secretive way, it's not good. We must open our doors, welcome the people. See, you come to our temple, see how we worship. Maybe you don't agree, maybe it's not like you do, but at least see our way of life, how we pray to God in this way. And if you invite me, I will go to the mosque or to the synagogue or a church, and I will see how you pray to the Lord and explain to me about your traditions. So this is important, that religions also open to other people. And of course, those who go there has to behave in a respectful way. And very important, educate the media. The media, at least about Hinduism, daily they publish so much rubbish and derogatory remarks, and they make a lot of fun of us. So continuously we have to be educating the people, of course, with good manners, with education. See, this information is wrong, or addressing the point in a proper way, or better, before you publish something, please consult with an expert, because also the media sometimes is biased from some interests. Like I can give you two examples. A few days ago, 1 week ago, we have Diwali, the Festival of Lights. Is one of the most important Hindu festivals. It's like, if we compare like Christmas for Hindus. After the celebration, we have the religious celebration, and then some other people have a kind of more secular celebration. Okay, wherever like 100 people reunited, and 11 cases of COVID came, positive cases of COVID. So the newspaper, rather than addressing that in some party there were 11 people who got contagious of COVID, they say 11 Hindus got contagious and Hinduism are spreading COVID in Spain. So this is a hate speech. No, so we have to inform, no, not all the Hindus we were there, and most of the people who were there were vaccinated. So something else was going on. Or like when people from your own tradition criticize you. For example, there is a very famous football player, Salah, who is Egyptian, Muslim Egyptian, and who plays in Liverpool. And after he make a goal, he do some yoga poses. So Muslims were criticizing him that now you become Hindu because you are doing yoga. So he say, no, I'm a Muslim, and everybody know then I pray everything and just do this because I practice yoga, but not in a way that I believe in Hinduism. So we can see different points. Being criticized by your own community, if you do something related to other culture, or being criticized by the media, or in a political way. In Spain, we have like right extremist party who is growing in numbers. And when we do all festivals who are very colorful, and we go in the street, for example, with the image of Lord Ganesh, and we celebrate, and we, of course, we ask for all the police permission and everything, so we can do the ritual of the pilgrimage or wherever in the street. So those were criticizing us. No, see, Spain is a Catholic country, and why Hindus are coming here and going in the street, and we're doing this next year, what will happen, and we're giving so much freedom to other people. So sometimes they link religion with immigration. And a Hindu, but I was born in Spain, my father from India, I'm a Spanish nationality. So what is wrong with that? So main point is lack of information, lack of education, and we have to be very careful. We don't have to believe whatever we read in the internet. We have to be even careful with what Wikipedia write, and they try to be serious, but sometimes people write whatever they want. Even I heard last comment in Facebook that Hindus, we are against vaccination. When my organization, Hindu Federation of Spain, we submitted a published document advising, because in Spain it's not compulsory, I don't think in any part of the world is compulsory, that please all the Hindus get the vaccination because it's good for us, good for everybody. So people like to comment, organizations try to take advantage, politicians are using to get votes or wherever. So I can say that we can counteract this kind of hate speech with interfaith. Interreligious dialogue is the solution, and we are all in the same boat. We must be together, and I'm really happy to share with all of you any kind of experience, my support, and my whatever knowledge I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Krishna, for sharing this experience and very interesting example that I think set and help us start this discussion. And it is very important thing that you highlighted education and knowing each other, meeting each other, coming together, because when you know another human being, then it's much harder to produce hate speech about those that you already know than those that you have plenty of stereotypes and prejudice about. And congratulations on all your amazing work. I'm looking forward to continue this discussion after our other panelists. And also I want once again to greet all our viewers who are watching this live stream, or those who will watch us in the recording. But those who are currently with us, I also want to invite them to post any question, comments, anything that they would like on our social media, and we will be happy to deliver it later on and to answer and to address some of your questions or comments that you may have. So after our dear colleague Krishna, we are moving to our another colleague, Vladimir Anderle, who are joining us today from Bosnia and Herzegovina. So thank you once again also for making your time to join us. As I said, Vladimir Anderle is coming from Bosnia and Herzegovina. He is born in Sarajevo, capital city, where he completed his primary, secondary, and higher education. He graduated and he worked as a musical teacher in primary and secondary school for several years. Since childhood, he was active member of the Jewish community in Sarajevo, and since 2013, he has been a member of the presidency and also vice president of the Jewish Cultural, Educational, and Humanitarian Association La Benevolencia. And since 2017, he has been a member also of the Diplomatic Corps of the World Jewish Congress, where he represented the Jewish community of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Beside that, for quite long years, he is active in the interfaith field, in intergeneration and interreligious dialogue, and he carried plenty of activities either through Jewish community or Youth for Peace as an organization, and also through the Interreligious Council. And currently he is employed in La Benevolencia as a director of the social services. So he has quite a long experience, and he's very involved in the topic of interreligious dialogue. So We are really looking forward to hear what you have to share with us on this topic, how this inter-religious dialogue can be solution or alternative to the hate speech, especially because you are coming from the Jewish community. And unfortunately, we are all witnessing quite a lot of anti-Semitism present either on social media or media overall. So Vladimir, floor is yours, and thank you once again for making your time to be with us today.
Thank you very much, Leila. I would like firstly to greet my fellow panelists and also the viewers on this Facebook Live panel discussion. I would like to start my presentation and would like to talk a little bit about the general about Bosnia and Herzegovina and level of the hate speech and fight against the hate speech in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia and Herzegovina is a politically very complex country with different layers of political jurisdiction, and it is also, which is most important to underline, it's a very polarized society. After the war, hate speech in Bosnia and Herzegovina manifests itself through the denial of the genocide and other convicted war crimes and war criminals, and also which is a long-term problem, is that the right of to study a group of national subjects in the school, like the mother tongue, it's also problematic for certain parts of Bosnia and Herzegovina. So, for example, we have politicians here who says that it's unacceptable for Serbs to be judged in the court of law in Bosnia and Herzegovina by the Muslim judges, and also we have a situation that we have a glorifying glorifying of the most cruel war criminals and also representing them with the medals. But that is also not also the problem on one side in Bosnia and Herzegovina, but it is also a common problem from the all constitutive groups which are existing in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So we have name of the streets named by the fascistic people who were active in the Nazi period, especially here in Bosnia and Herzegovina. We have schools named after the war criminals. We have student homes named after the genocide, people who ordered and conducted the genocide. Liberalization of I believe the problem is in the liberalization of the public space, more precisely the relocation of the sphere of mass information to the internet and the popular social media networks. And this fact completely changed the issue of the hate speech. The fact and the kind of anonymity and the possibility of creating false profiles and to speak under the false names on forums and social media networks open space for various possibilities of expressing negative and toxic and threatening content. This is very visible, and I can tell you the example from the Jewish community here in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Generally, Jews in Bosnia and Herzegovina are feeling very safe here among this society. This is mostly thanks to the fact that we have long-term history of good neighborhood relations here in Sarajevo specific, but also in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So, for example, the Jewish community of Sarajevo is the kind of the community which is open to the other people. Everybody can come in and everybody can find their place here among the premises of the Jewish community. We are the community which doesn't have the policeman in front of the door. We don't even have the private security companies who are securing us. This is most to the fact that we have really good relations with the Muslim community, Christian Orthodox community, and Catholic community in Bosnia and Herzegovina. On the other side, we have a huge number of threats and hate speech on our social media networks. Just 2 days ago, we got the threatening message that someone will come and kill all the Jews here, and that the guy is wishing us dead and wishing us new Auschwitz, to go to Auschwitz. This is a huge problem, since that we believe that here in Bosnia and Herzegovina there is a level illiteracy and the stupidness of the people, and especially the news which are going to media. We are living in the world which is where sensation is everything. So also the media are behaving like that. Not only the social media networks or internet news portal, but also traditional media outlets. The other problem is that most of the parties and most of the politicians, and especially the ones who have resources to pay for it, they are employing different kind of bots who are spreading this hate speech across the social media networks, and they are producing, intolerance and conflicts on generally in society. It seems to me that social media and similar media outlets are just a space where everyone is literally reflected. So this means that if I say something, that whole society is able to judge me without any kind of evaluating or seeing the other side or taking into consideration the other side of the story. Also, artificially created conflicts in Bosnia and Herzegovina are the quite problem. And example for that, just like a couple of weeks ago, the media space, public space was full of war narrative and war talks here in Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is quite disturbing to us, especially to us who survived the war and saw what war done to us in the 90s. We have quite good criminal codes when it comes to the punishing of the hate speech narrative. So, for example, we have three main criminal codes which are connected to the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Republic of Srpska, and the Brčko district. These are three parts which constitute the Bosnia and Herzegovina as a country. But the problem is the implementation of that code. It seems to me that it's not possible now at this point to punish anyone in the public space while saying the hate speech. And this is a huge problem, because this gives certain certainty to people to say whatever they want in the public space. We have numerous of examples here on all sides on all groups of people in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and simply nobody is doing anything to prevent this. I'm talking here as a Jew in Bosnia and Herzegovina, more precisely Bosnian and Herzegovinian Jew, and also as a Bosnian and Herzegovinian as well. And on both cases, I'm the minority here. The problem is another problem is that nationality and religion is connected here in Bosnia and Herzegovina, meaning if you are Muslim, then you are automatically Bosniak. If you are Catholic, then you are automatically Croat. And if you are Orthodox Christian, you are automatically belonging to the Serb group. And in the same time, if you are declaring yourself as a Bosnian and Herzegovina as a nationality which should be connected in Bosnia and Herzegovina, then you are a minority. From that point of view, I would like to underline also the fact that all the minorities, not only the Jewish minority, but all minority, and also the Bosnian and Herzegovinian minority, is basically discriminated by the Constitution of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and that constitution is part of the Dayton Agreement, which was imposed in 1995. That Dayton Agreement brought the peace in Bosnia and Herzegovina, but also if we are thinking about long-term benefits of the Dayton Agreement, I don't believe that we had so many benefits at this. We have so many benefits at this point. It is mostly due to the reason that people are discriminated, that we have citizens of second order here. And when we are speaking about the minorities, and if we are speaking about the three main and the biggest groups of constitutive people here, I can say that depending of where you are at that moment, you can be a minority. So meaning that also the Muslim in Bosnia and Herzegovina can be a minority, but also Serb and Croat as well. There is a 12 years since the delivery of the judgment of a European Court of Human Rights in the Sejdić and Sejdić-Finci case. That was the case which was brought by the president of the Jewish community and the president of the Roma community, and they were fighting for their own right, meaning that they are not able to run for the highest position in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and it was a positive judgment for the appellants. But unfortunately, until now, the Bosnia and Herzegovina and the government did nothing in order to implement these judgments into the electoral law. These judgments confirm the discriminatory nature of the electoral system in Bosnia and Herzegovina, preventing all those who are not willing to affiliate with the constitutive people. As I said, constitutive people here in Bosnia and Herzegovina are Bosniaks, Croats, and Serbs, or not meeting a combination of requirements of ethnic origins and place of residence. They are not able to run for the elections of presidency and House of the People. Just a couple of months ago, the Office of High Representative imposed a new law of denial of genocide, but not only genocide, all the denial of any war crime or Holocaust or anything what it's our civilization duty to accept and to talk against the narrative. And this law, of course, brought us another troubles in the political system. I'll not talk anymore about the politics in Bosnia and Herzegovina. I just wanted to tell you briefly how the situation is going when we are talking about the hate speech, and everything what I said is basically connected with the level of the hate speech. The religious communities in Bosnia and Herzegovina have a huge role in combating hate speech in the Bosnian and Herzegovinian society, meaning that most of the people are connected to the religious community, no matter whether they are practicing believers or not, but they are in a certain way connected to the community. And I find that religious community here in Bosnia and Herzegovina can do very huge help in combating those hate speeches and toxic narrative. All the traditional religious communities, Islamic community, Jewish community, Catholic Church, and Christian Orthodox Church are working together in the Interreligious Council of Bosnia and Herzegovina since 1997, and basically they are doing a lot of activities, different activities, in order to combat these kind of narratives. Also, I need to mention a huge role of civil society organizations who are doing a huge efforts to fight against this. And I have to underline also the Youth for Peace, which I would dare to say it's one of the biggest and one of the most important civil society organization in this fight. The Jewish community, the Jews generally had one concept of living which is called Tikkun Olam. It's a concept in Judaism which is basically an inspiration to behave and act constructively and beneficially, not only towards the members of the Jewish community, but also to your local community where you are living. The Jewish community doing and La Benevolencia, specifically because it's the educational purposes, is doing a lot of work in combating against anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and also in combating against hate speech. Just at this moment, from this Friday, La Benevolencia, together with the support of Council of Europe and the European Union, is conducting one very important project, which is called education about anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and generally xenophobia in public school system. It's a pilot project where we picked 6 schools from the municipality of Old Town here in Sarajevo, and we are conducting workshops on 4 topics. The first topic is the hate speech and the consequences on the hate speech. The second topic is about anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and generally about xenophobia. The third topic is history of Jews, so Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Holocaust, which is very important for us because a lot of young people, students, pupils don't have comprehensive knowledge about the Holocaust. So, for example, just a couple of days ago, I was in one school and I saw some student work about Nuremberg processes, and everything is very well explained what was happening there. But when they were mentioning victims, nobody says that there were 6 million Jews who were targeted basically and murdered in the Second World War. Rather, they mentioned 2 million of people from SSSR, socialistic Russia, also 6 million Polacks and different kind, but there were no Jews. That showed me that people are not, and the teachers and the generally public system, public school system, it's not doing too much in order to provide to their students facts and truthful facts about the certain events happened in their history. They are rather revitalizing it. The hate speech narrative and everything what I mentioned before about the attacks on Jewish community and Jews in Bosnia and Herzegovina on social media networks, it's mostly caused by it's in big increase. It's increased during the COVID crisis here, where the Jews were suspected where there was a lot of conspiracy theories about how the COVID came out, and most of these theories were blaming Jews for developing the coronaviruses and also developing the vaccines in order to I don't know, to kill the population here or to do whatever else they want. Also, another fact is that what is quite noticeable is that whenever is the conflict in the Middle East, especially between the Palestine and Israel, we are suffering here because the people here in Bosnia and Herzegovina, they don't understand that even though that we are Jew and Israel is a Jewish state, and this is something, and this is the fact, but still we are not connected in that way that we need to fight against Israel or to judge Israel or to judge Palestine or to judge any other country which is in conflict. People cannot understand that we are a religious community, and our start point is good, and our point of start it's empathy towards everybody. Not only the Jews, not only the certain group, but also the everybody. So when there was a last war a couple of months ago, there was a huge toxic narrative, and they were naming people leaders of the Jews here in Bosnia and Herzegovina to fight against Israel or to stand on the side of the Palestine or something else. And this is inappropriate, and this is something what shouldn't be done, because not everybody are responsible for someone else deeds. When it comes to the level of the...
Sorry for interrupting you, Vlado, but we are a little bit running out of time. So if you can wrap up in a minute, because there is some question coming from our audience that we would like to address later.
No problem. Sorry for talking too much.
No problem.
Basically, I was about to wrap up. I don't have anything else more to say in this short time. I hope that I explained the system and explained what actually is the narrative and what is actually is happening here in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Thank you, Leila, and I apologize for taking too much time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Vladimir. And I know that it's really hard in a few minutes to explain a very complicated situation in Bosnia. And I think that you did amazing job. And I hope that our audience now understand it much better. And it is great that you bring this perspective and that we discuss about politicians. And you raised up very important topic that how those narratives, especially war narratives, create.
Leila, you froze.
I think Leila actually is out of the internet, but I will just take over the moderation. Luckily, there's always more people on Zoom because you never know what can happen with the technology. But Leila, Vladimir, thank you very much for your very, very extensive presentation. And I'm coming from Bosnia and Herzegovina, and I can understand how situation is very complicated there. So thank you again for joining us. But not to spend more time, I want to invite our third panelist. That is Jamie Creswell, who's coming from the UK. Jamie is actually from the Center for the Applied Buddhism, and Jamie will give us his actually introduction and his introductory speech on the topic of interfaith dialogue as an alternative to hate speech. Jamie is also part of the Religions for Peace UK, and he's also part of the European Council of Religious Leaders. And Jamie is working in this field for many years in the field of the interfaith dialogue, but also in the field of the hate speech. We had the opportunity to hear James also on one of the webinars of the European Interfaith Youth Network, which I'm part of. And I have the pleasure to give the word to Jamie. And Jamie, the floor or the Zoom is yours. So please take it and give us your inputs. And thank you again for joining us and being here with us.
Thank you so much, Amina. Thank you. And my best wishes to everyone who's watching today and to my fellow panelists, Vladimir and Krishna. And thanks also to Leila and Amina. I hope Leila gets back in at some point. And also Youth for Peace. These are really great events, and they're really, really valuable. So I'm very happy to have been invited. So thank you for that. This word hate, it's such a strong word, isn't it? And hate speech, it brings up all sorts of feelings within us when we hear it. And as we've heard already from the two previous speakers, it's such a complex situation. And thank you to both of you for saying what you said. I found it really interesting and opened my eyes to an extent. So I'm going to take a slightly different perspective maybe on this topic of hate speech and dialogue. When we think of hate, we tend to think that hate is carried out by those other nasty people, those racists, those anti-gay people, those nasty thoughts, those anti-something people, the people who shout across the street or post in social media and hide behind chat groups and behind the internet. They hold their anonymity there. But where do these comments, where do these ideas start? For me, this is an interesting question, and they start in the mind. If we take the time to interrogate our own minds, we may be surprised or somewhat shocked to find that some of these comments appear in our own minds, in our own lives. There can be hurtful, unskillful thoughts and ideas that arise in our own lives. And these come about more regularly than we might think or might hope. So does hate only come from them and not from us? It's an interesting question. There are many levels of hate, and we all experience it. We all feel it. We can all be spiteful and hurtful. So these thoughts that are created in the mind can tend to lead to action, and the action that they lead to is often speech or words. Therefore, starting with a transformation of the mind is always a good option. Most religions have some practice of some sort in order to do this. But we must realize that hate speech can start with us, and it can be changed by us. First-person experience is really important. First-person knowledge is highly relevant. This experience has an interpretive element to it. We experience the world through the structure of consciousness, rather than directly. So we don't see the world out there in the same way as others see it. It's not a process of direct transmission. We don't simply observe the world, but we actually create our experience of the world through the nervous system and through the consciousness and through stimuli from the environment. This is useful to know in terms of cultivating our own awareness through dialogue. We've realized that we cannot simply make change happen as if we are separate from the thing that we seek to change, but by entering into a dialogical relationship with the situation, we may discover ways in which existing structures affect us and might evolve. This is less about managing an organization or a situation, but more about cultivating conditions under which it might change and evolve. So less about a mechanistic worldview of seeking the levers of change or the tools to drive change, which we often hear in the media. Rather, we inquire into the way the system works, into the way people think, its principles that guide it, that guide people, and the underlying coherence. By changing the way we speak, and we can shift how we think and how this impacts on others. So if we turn to dialogue, generally we think of dialogue maybe as a good conversation, but there is much more to dialogue. It's a way of taking the energy of our differences and channeling that towards something that has never been created before, something new, something fresh. It can lift us out of a polarization and into a greater common sense. It can access intelligence and coordinated power of groups of people. So what are the roots of this word dialogue? You probably all know this already, but just to remind you, it comes from the Greek dia and logos. Dia means generally through, and logos means word. In essence, therefore, we can see dialogue as a flow of meaning. Also, logos has this other interpretation, which is to gather together, and it suggests a sort of intimate awareness of relationships. So we might say that dialogue is a conversation in which people think together in relationship. So let's look at interfaith dialogue. We all share different values and different views, depending on our upbringing, our religion, our culture, and so many other things. As we know, religion can help to foster harmony between people, but also religious and cultural differences are amongst the most profound sources of division amongst people. There is no magic word, but to bring forward the full potential of dialogue can be extremely beneficial. Through dialogue, the energies of dogmatism and fanaticism can be redirected toward a more humanistic outlook. This interfaith dialogue can be useful. However, my experience over many years of interfaith dialogue has been that it can simply become a mechanistic process amongst the same group of people month after month, with an agenda, with a chair running everything, and talking about events that are coming up and having a cup of tea and a chat. That's the worst side of interfaith dialogue. But true dialogue has another place. True dialogue carried out in a spirit of open-mindedness and open-heartedness and speaking together, listening to others with compassion and really hearing what people have to say can be very, very transforming. It is important to ask carefully constructed questions and try to understand with our own hearts and our own minds the position and the values of others, where they are coming from, why they think the way they think, why do they have those views. We need the courage to meet with others, those who we may not agree with and with whom we would not meet, and even when we did meet, we might have superficial chats. This can be an opportunity for us to struggle to transform positively our own lives as well as those of others. We can begin to break out of our own shells and surmount our own egos and build positive connection with others and those who we would not usually converse. In one-to-one or in small groups, we can question openly and we can respond and we can voice our concerns and respond to our doubts. We don't need to hold on to our own exclusive truth position, but rather to allow each person to have equal access to truth and to discover this for themselves. Dialogue requires that we allow all positions, no matter what, to be expressed. I do somewhat wonder if interfaith dialogue now needs to move on. It needs to look to the future. Rather, we need perhaps more local community dialogues, which take place with everyone interacting. It's the resilient engagement and interaction which we can bring about in the coming together of humanity, one life to another, breaking down these tribal barriers that have built up, the deep search for roots of each person's being and understanding. The voices of all people can make a crucial contribution to the health of society. So I do see this as a process maybe beyond interfaith dialogue. Interfaith dialogue still has its place, I'm very sure of that. But dialogue which is inclusive of faith, inclusive of not faith, and inclusive of no faith, in order to be really relevant and valuable in society. I think we need to step outside of our cosy groups and tribes, even the interfaith tribe, if I dare to call it that, and we need to challenge ourselves. The energy of courageous action can break down the chains of resignation and apathy that can really easily bind the human heart and unleash renewed confidence and visions for the future. I believe that such open-hearted and courageous dialogue amongst people of diverse backgrounds will help to transform prejudice and understanding and mistrust into empathy and conflict into harmony. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jamie, and I want to apologize to all of you because my electricity just went off when I was in the middle of the sentences, so it's back now, and I hope that internet and everything will work. But the beauty of having webinars and working from different parts of the world. Thank you for presentation. I just wanted to address what I was trying to say when Vladimir finished his presentation, to thank him once again. And I know that my colleague Amina took it over, which is also great always to have a colleague on your side that is taking care of these technical issues. And I think that it was very important that he highlighted the importance of narratives and how hate speech can make the narrative who is then affecting not just our political life, but also the future of the younger generation and overall situation. And thank you once again, Jamie, for moving this discussion in different direction and offering us some new insights and idea, because we usually very easily say, oh, like interfaith dialogue is a solution for everything. But as you said, it's much more than the dialogue that we are used to. And we definitely need to step outside of our comfort zone and to go into something that we call gray or even red zone and try to expose ourselves and try really to understand what are other people having to say, and really unconditionally trying to understand them, to accept them as a human beings with all these positive and negative side. And probably that is one of the solutions to the hate speech. But thank you, three of you, for your amazing presentation and all these insights and interesting ideas. I'm happy to say that there is a lot of nice comments coming in our social media, and that people really enjoying presentation and sharing greetings all the way from Cameroon to the France and all over the world, which is great. And we are sending greetings to all those who are listening our live stream right now. And we have few questions coming on our way, which will be great that if three of you can address right now. So the question that were coming on different media saying that do you think that more religious leaders should use media and social media to condemn the hate speech and promote interfaith? Because we know that a lot of religious leaders are not really using the social media, and we heard in all of your presentation that social media is on social media there is so much of the hate speech present, and it is so influential, and people are using it, especially now in this COVID or post-COVID or still pandemic time. So it will be interesting to hear your opinion. What do you think? What will be your advice? And can we use the social media in order to promote this that we were discussing about the interfaith dialogue and how it can be done in this sphere? So maybe we can go into order as you presented. Maybe Krishna, if you would like to address Vladimir and Jamie, or if some of you would like to skip, it's also perfectly fine, but we would like to hear all of your opinion. So Krishna, would you like to start?
Yes, of course. when the religious leaders have the responsibility to share their knowledge, they must, nowadays, we have to address the people, as we call in Hinduism, Kalapatra Desha, means according to time, place, and circumstances. So in the age that we are living now, in this communications era, we must use these old technological tools like Facebook or Twitter or WhatsApp, or wherever, so we can use in a good way to send messages of peace, coexistence, tolerance, learning from each other. This is the way we must use. Unfortunately, not everybody uses like this. And we can see like so many times, like the fake news are related also to hate speech. Like recently in Bangladesh, some people created an image that a Hindu put a Quran book in a temple, Hindu temple, and the people, some people, extremists, of course, they went to the temple, they destroyed the temple, they attacked the people. So this is how we, unfortunately, the social media is used to provoke violence and hatred about other religions. So it's a good responsibility that religious leaders, or at least those who are in charge of that particular things, to use the technological tools to increase the awareness for interreligious dialogue. This is really, really important, and that we must learn. It's like a knife. We have a knife we can use to cut an apple, or we can use to kill people. So we have the free will and we have the freedom to choose. So we should encourage people to use the technology for a good cause. Of course, I completely agree with that.
Great, thank you very much. I hope that more religious leaders will take advantage of the social media in order to promote the dialogue and to stop the hate speech. So Vladimir, Jamie, would you like to address this question as well?
Yes, thank you, Leila. And thank you for the question. I think not that they should, they must use social media, not only social media, but every available resource or platform to promote interreligious dialogue. I liked what Jamie said about the tribe way of work, and I really do agree. You know, we cannot close ourselves in our tribes or in our religions. We have to go more away from this kind of closing into the closed circle, simply because we are living in globalized world, and closing yourself, it's not possible. So yes, I do believe that religious leader must address combats against the hate speech on every way they allow. No matter that if they are used to do it, or they are used to do it via traditional media outlets or anything else, they need to adjust to the time we are living in.
Thank you, Vladimir.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much for your answer. And yeah, probably Jamie would like to address this question as well.
Yes, just briefly. I think the question asked if religious leaders should condemn hate speech. And I would say no, they shouldn't condemn hate speech, because that's buying into the same way of thinking by condemning. But what we should be doing is calling people out. So if people are writing fake information about religious groups or such things, then it's important to respond to those things. But the response has to be careful. It has to be skillful. It has to come from our deep hearts, and not just reactions, which can easily come from the more negative aspects of us. So I think we need to be very careful how religious leaders respond. I think, however, that they should. But at the same time, I would say that it's not religious leaders' jobs necessarily to become internet professionals and spend their whole life responding to things on the internet. They have far better things to do. And sometimes things just have to be ignored, to be honest.
Yeah, but okay, Krishna raised his hand. So would you like to contribute something on what Jamie just shared?
I appreciate his points. Point of Jamie's point is different of my own opinion, but I agree with him that sometimes we have to ignore, because we can spend our life just answering nonsense from the people, from fools. No, so we had to yes, take the better use of limited time that we have in these lifetimes. No.
Yes, thank you very much, Krishna, for this additional point. But now moving to the question that I would like to ask you, and in line with what Jamie said earlier, that we need to step outside of our comfort zone when we are into process of dialogue, we are also witnessing that hate speech is not just coming towards religious communities, as we saw, like anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim hatred, Islamophobia, anti-Christian, anti-Hindu hatred, and so on and so forth. But there is unfortunately a lot of hate speech, and especially what also Vladimir shared, coming from religious leaders and from religious groups. So I'm wondering, what is your opinion on that topic? How we as a people of faith, and you as representative of your religious communities, like for example, Krishna, you are Hindu priest, and all of you are working and closely into your religious group, what you as religious leaders can do in order to prevent or address the hate speech coming from religious leaders, even though we know that each religion are teaching us the beautiful things, that we need to respect each other, that hate speech is not and shouldn't be a solution and we shouldn't spread it, but still we are witnessing every day that there is so much hate speech coming from religious leaders. So maybe Krishna, would you like to start again? Because I mentioned that you are Hindu priest, so it will be interesting to hear your opinion.
Yeah, it's actually sometimes within Hinduism it's quite difficult, because we don't have a central church or central figure, like for example the Catholic have the Pope. No? So different teachers from different sampradayas or schools of thought say different things about the same topic. Sometimes we agreed in many things, sometimes we disagree, and even sometimes I receive also hate speech or hatred messages from other people. Just for example, about the lesbian gay community, like they also, keeping aside their sexual orientation, most of them, at least what I knew, are people of faith also. They believe in God. Doesn't mean they are all atheists, no, or demons. They're people of faith. They have a different social orientation. So we have to make a space for them that they can also feel comfortable within their own communities. They don't have to go out or left religion because they are not widely accepted. So, for example, this sometimes even I support, I respect different kind of sexual orientation. Maybe sometimes in the Hindu scripture we have references about homosexuality and everything is tolerated. It's not something that we make a big publicity about that, but it's tolerated. And sometimes for defending those who are gay, lesbian Hindus, and also they are asking that they would like to have a marriage ceremony. You know? Like in Spain, according to the civil law, people can get married of the same sex. But religiously, most of the religions are against that. And Hinduism is trying to find a solution to accommodate people who wants to have a religious ceremony, a religious blessings. So I'm supported with the background, with the backup of the Holy Scriptures, Hindu Holy Scripture, and the sayings of many spiritual teachers, that we should give them a space and accept them. And I also received hate speech from other religious leaders from Hinduism that are trying to demonize or change the scripture or accepting people who are perverted. And of course, sometimes we also receive hate speech from religious leaders from another religious groups. So we should try to settle these things and try to open. If you have any problem, what is wrong, what we did that you are so angry with us, we should comment. But if the other person is not ready or doesn't want to talk to us in a peacefully educated in a way, so what we can do, we just have to ignore them. We can, as Jamie says, no, we have a very little time in our life. We can die at any moment. So since we have this human life, we must take advantage of it and get the use of this limited time to good causes, good things. We should face the criticism, try to settle, try to do dialogue. But if the other side is not ready, we should move on. We cannot just try to persuade them or convert them. Not everybody, even in Hinduism, not everybody is in favor of interreligious dialogue. It's like this.
Thank you very much, Krishna, for these words. And I saw that Vladimir unmuted himself, so I assume that he would like to add something on this topic as well. Or did we just lost Vladimir? Maybe he's also facing some internet problems, but I'm sure that Jamie would like. Okay, yeah, Jamie, floor is yours.
Yes, I hope Vladimir can get back in. Yeah, thank you, Krishna, for what you said. Very interesting. I mean, I think I touched on it in my talk, the fact that religion can cause so much division and hurt itself, as well as having the power to bring people together. So we have to be very aware of that, and we have to be honest about that, I think, as practitioners. And then for me, what's most important is dignity of life. Each person deserves deep respect and to have dignity of life, and we need to uphold that. So if other religious leaders or religious organizations are carrying out hate speech, then I think it is our responsibility to try to find some way to hold dialogue with those people. And I think that was the point I was getting to the end of my talk, really, is to go outside our comfort zones and to talk to the people who we feel are causing those issues, and to really find a place and a time where we can sit together and open our hearts and talk about our own perspectives. And it's a really difficult thing to do, I'm not denying that, but I think dialogue carried out really carefully can help this situation, and that's why I hold with dialogue so strongly. I think it is an answer if it's carried out carefully, and careful questions to the other person. How do you think your action upholds the dignity of life, for example? Those sort of questions that people can respond to, and try to get an understanding of the other person's perspective, and then gradually, through a process of dialogue, affect that in some way. Yeah, that's what I have to say.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely what you highlighted, we need to keep dialogue in the center of all our work, and probably dialogue is solution. We just need to find a way how to use the dialogue, as you explain nicely in your presentation. And Vladimir, welcome back. We saw that you were probably facing some issues with the internet, and I just wanted to ask, do you like that something on the previous question, or do you have any comments? I know that you missed some parts, but we were discussing about responsibilities of religious leaders who are also spreading the hate speech, and we once again move to the discussion of importance of the dialogue in the process. Okay,
I'm really sorry. It's the internet, and it kicked me out. Well, basically, I wanted to say something similar, what Jamie said, that we need to put the dialogue in the center of our lives and try to talk with the people who are spreading the hate, no matter whether they are religious leaders or just the common people, as we like to name it. But yes, I am on a similar opinion like JB said, so I will not add, and I will not take time more on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Vladimir, and we are really happy that you managed to come back, because we are all facing a lot of the technical issues today. So there is also some other questions coming, and I will try to blend some of them so that we can address more, because we are running out of time. When you have this nice discussion, time always flies. So one other question that comes is that how can we influence people in our religious communities to work on countering hate speech? Because we heard in a lot of your presentation that you were highlighting this intra-religious dialogue, not between other religious groups, but in our religion communities, and also how we can promote this interfaith in our communities more. And I will add, because we have quite a long younger audience, and our previous webinar we're focusing on the younger people and the role of okay, then I was kicked out again. Okay, so what I was trying to say, that the role also of younger people in these processes. So what will be your message? What we can do inside of our communities, how to motivate our communities to work more, and how to involve younger people. So I hope that you were able to understand what I was trying to say, as I was kicked outside of the discussion in the middle of it. So yeah, maybe Vladimir, you would like to address, as you are coming from the younger, let's say, group of the people, and you work quite a lot, as I know, with younger generations, so, and also inside of your Jewish community. So I'm sure that you have a lot of things to share on the topic.
Well, yes, thank you. Well, there are different ways on how to close by to the younger people, to the younger generation in the specific community, or other people, no matter what their age are. Well, basically, what is the first condition is to have the open heart, as a condition, because if you don't have an open heart, you are not going to be able to promote anything what is good. What is really important is to talk with the members of the community, is to talk about their issues, or any other maybe toxic narrative they have, or any other prejudice or stereotype they have towards different people, to talk and to make them understand that if they are continuing like this, they are in danger to be in the net of the generalization of thinking toward different people. What the Jewish community was doing, and La Benevolencia what was doing in the past, unfortunately, we had to stop a lot of activities because of the COVID-19 pandemic here. But before that, we were, for example, organizing a Muslim-Jewish twining event. So for 2 years in a row, we were visiting the Islamic community, or we were going to the mosque, and we were participating in a prayer in the mosque. And in the same time, on the same day, the people from the Islamic community were coming to our synagogue. They were together with us on the Shabbat service, and after on a nice small dinner, and everything. And I believe the connecting is everything. And this is the responsibility of the people who are working in the community, and especially the leaders of the community, no matter what is their level within the organization hierarchy. But it is important to go or simply just drink a coffee, or drink or have a meal or something. The condition is to be close to our fellows who are different religious or ethnic background. Also, what religious leaders and religious communities needs to promote is the organization of civil societies, and to motivate its members to go and to be part of that kind of the societies, because the organization of civil societies have wider level of activity they can do, rather than religious communities which are quite in the how to say, box of their own rules and their own laws. So basically, as I said at the beginning of my when I was talking at the beginning, I believe that religious communities and the people are connected to the religious community can make a crucial step forward in combating hate speech and the toxic narrative.
Thank you very much, Vladimir. And as you said, probably solution is just by meeting each other and opening our hearts and minds to others. And it's especially important in the context of Bosnia, as you said, because it can help us to change the narrative and to stop this ripple effect and a cycle of this transgenerational transmission of these narratives of trauma and everything that is keeping our society in the state, as you explained at the beginning.
So Jamie,
just need to
add, sorry. Yeah. I would just like to add what I missed to say, and it is very important. It's very, very important, and I will underline it like 100 times, is talk truthfully, is to talk about the truth, not to be afraid of the truth, because this is our main problem here in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and in the majority of the organizations who are dealing with the hate speech, they are simply afraid of the truth. This is in the context of the genocide, of the war crimes, of anything. Without the truth and without having the courage to tackle the hate speech through the truth, we are not going to do anything here. Sorry for interruption, Leila.
No, thank you for this very important additional comment, and you are definitely right. Truth should be our base, and we should start from ourselves, facing our own truth, definitely. So, Jamie, I saw that you unmute yourself, so would you like to add something to this discussion or to this point?
Yes, I will. Thank you, and thank you, Vladimir. So I wanted to, you were saying that these webinars are mainly for young people, so I want to address the young people who may be watching. I work quite a bit with young people, or have done in the last few years, and I've been just amazed by their energy and creativeness. And for me, they have given me hope for the future. So what I would say is, often we hear this phrase, young people are the future. So I would really encourage all young people to start to take action. If we're talking about intrafaith, within your own faith, then it is sometimes the case that as people get older, and I know this from my own experience, people start to fear change. They want things to remain the same all the time because that's what makes them comfortable, and that's understandable. But for young people, that fear of change is not so strong. So please make use of that. Be courageous, be energetic, be adventurous, and in your own tradition, develop good friendships amongst yourselves. Maybe you are in one church and you can start to move out into churches of the same tradition and really build friendships amongst the young people and older people in those churches or centers or whatever, and build those great friendships. And then through the intra-faith friendships, you can start to build interfaith, multi-faith friendships. And I think, Youth for Peace and Religions for Peace Youth Network and all these different networks that are around are doing things like that. So look for those networks as well and be part of that. And don't be held back by other people's fear of change. Allow yourself to open up and move forward. And it is really that thing of friendships that is so important. Building friendships is difficult across Zoom at the moment, but it's possible and we still can do it. And arrange small multi-faith events. And then from that, you can take other steps into civil society, as Vladimir and us have been talking about. The step into civil society is also really, really important, so that you're building friendships and learning from each other and understanding each other. That's what I would say about that.
It seems that we have
Great, thank you, Jamie. This was a very important message because we also try to highlight. Can you hear me? I hope that you can hear me right now. Yeah, so as Jamie, okay, great, because Amina was highlighting that you can hear me. So I was trying to say, yes, thank you very much for sending this message, which is really important, especially for our younger generation, because we always in these webinars try to highlight that youth are now and here, and that they are not future, but they are here and they need to take responsibility and step outside of their comfort zone, as you said. And thank you for sending the message. And building on that, my dear colleague Amina is on this call with us, even though she was great technical support, but she has more than 10 years of experience working with the young people and Interfaith Dialogue and working on these webinars and projects together with me. I just want to give her floor, a few minutes to share some of her wisdom and experience on this topic, and then we will wrap up this webinar. And once again, apologies to all our listeners for all these technical hiccups, but I think that we are showing that we always need to find a way how to deliver message, even though we are sometimes facing the problems. So Amina, it will be great to hear you as well, not just to have you as a technical support, but to share a few words of your wisdom and experience with us.
Thank you, Leila. I hope everybody can hear me. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Leila, for moderating, despite the difficulties that you faced regarding the electricity and internet. But as you said, even though we have these technical issues, it's important to pass the message, to actually pass it to our viewers. And I think we made it with a bit of difficulties, but I hope you won't get this wrong for us. You won't mind us this, but thank you again for being here. And thank you, Leila, for those beautiful words about me. I'm blushing a bit now, probably. I just wanted to say that I agree with the things that you said here, that yes, our religion should be put at the forefront, and it should be put, into the mundane problems that we face. We should not keep it just in our sacred places, in our homes, but we also should put it into action. And I think putting religion into action is basically, dealing with the mundane problems that we have, such as environment, ecology. We had COP26 just happening, and it's important that faith leaders are working on the environmental issues as well, and that they are very vocal about it, about hate speech, about freedom of religion or belief, and everything else. But it's also important that we are mindful about, burden that we are putting on religious leaders as well, because it's not all their job. Some of these things is their job, but some of the things are also our job as people of faith, as somebody who practices faith, or even people who are, who are not belonging to the faith, any kind of faith groups. It's important that we come together, that we understand each other, when we cross these prejudices and stereotypes that we have about each other. And unfortunately, we have them a lot, I have to say. And I just wanted to highlight that my interest is basically how to combat hate speech and how to do it from the interfaith perspective. So I'm actually, keeping an eye on social media and religious leaders who are out there. So there are a couple of amazing examples of religious leaders who are doing that. And I just wanted to highlight this here, such as young Imam from the Great Britain. His name is, I think, Sabah Ahmedi, and he's having his amazing Instagram profile, who's basically, helping people understand Islam and helping people, to counter Islamophobia and understand, that Islam is not just what media sometimes want to represent. Or one of the European Council of Religious Leaders members, Imam Said Razavi, has an amazing Facebook page with more than 37,000 people who are following him on Facebook, and he's promoting interfaith in every possible way, and he's promoting also combating hate speech. Besides him, I have an amazing example from a priest from India. He's a Catholic priest, and I have him as a friend on Facebook because I met him like 3 years ago, and he's doing tremendous work in this kind of area of, just bringing alternative to everything bad in the world that we have. So these people, for me, are the beacons of something that we can do in social media. Not every religious leaders have to do that. Not every religious leader has to have social media, but it is possible. And I think these people are the beacons of what can be done actually in regards to that. It's important that we showcase our religion, and then showcase what we stand for, to have it in public, to resolve these, as I said again, mundane issues that we are confronting. But as European Interfaith Youth Network of Religions for Peace, we did one project inside Speech for Change platform. It was called Alter Hate. And we decided to create one poster, which we called No Hate Speech Rule. We decided to dig into religious traditions and find certain quotes that are supporting good speech, that are supporting, speech that is not harmful for people. And we decided to create this poster as our contribution, as our some kind of an interfaith contribution, each of us coming from different religious traditions. And I'm just going to briefly share the screen with you and show you this poster as some kind of a wrap up for this webinar that we have. So I'll just briefly show it to you. I hope you can see it. I think everybody can see this poster. So we just decided to give a little bit of the contribution to our to this combating hate speech and to give it interfaith perspective. Of course, there are more religious traditions that could be included, but we had resources to find for 11 of them. You can find this poster on our Facebook page, Alter Hate, or Twitter page, Alter Hate, or Instagram page as well. In case you're interested to see it, or in case you're interested to use it as well, it's completely free for usage. And it's, let's say, one of our contributions to somehow at least a little bit contribute, because I'm a person that believes that each small step counts. I know that sometimes you think that, oh, why should I do this? Why should I do that? It's not going to change the world. Of course, it's not going to change the world. But if you change at least one or two persons around your, in your own environment, or if you actually, reach out to people and show what you stand for, you might get somebody on your side. Let's call it this way. So I think we just have to really be very vocal and very, let's say, loud about what we stand for. Instead of countering it directly, we can do it like showing the alternative for what we actually stand for. So I would just like to finish now, and yes, I will make this poster available to everybody who wants to have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Amina. I'm so glad that you shared the poster that were made by our group. And I think that this was, from my humble opinion, very nice contribution to this topic. We are having exactly 3 more minutes till the end of the time dedicated to this webinar. So I would like to ask our dear panelists to use this last minute just to share the message for our audience before we finish this webinar. So maybe we can go into order as you were already presenting. So Krishna, Vladimir, and Jamie, just in 30 seconds, share the message that you would like our audience to hear from you and to take from this.
Okay, so as we say in Hinduism, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the entire world is a family, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, that everybody has the right to be happy in the world, and Satyam Priya Bhujam Priya. That means always say the truth, but say in a palatable, sweet way that nobody feels harmed. This is my message. Om Shanti.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Krishna, Vladimir.
I'll just be short, and I will say have a courage and then talk the truth, because truth is going to set us free, and I strongly believe in this. We have to support each other, and we have to be the citizens of the world, not only the citizens of our small group and our small neighborhood. Be much more than you think you can be. Thank you.
Great, nicely said, Vladimir. And to conclude with our dear Jamie.
Thank you, Vladimir. You said everything I wanted to say, but I would say to everyone, please be courageous, don't be scared, take action, go out into the world, embrace everyone in the world, embrace all beings. In Buddhism we say, may all beings be well, may all beings be happy. And always remember that everyone has suffering as well as you. And we can help to change that suffering. And everyone wants friends as well as you. So please remember that and go out and meet as many people as you can, because it's person-to-person contact that changes things.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all our dear panelists for your great presentation, beautiful message that you shared, to our dear Amina for her technical support and jumping in when my connection were not working properly. Once again, apologize for these technical difficulties, but we also need to keep in mind that this is our privilege, that we are having technology and computers and electricity, because there is millions of people in this world that are not having chance as we are today here to share this message. And I think that it was important that we were in a position of sharing the message. And as Jamie and other colleagues said, be courageous, go outside, meet another human being, open your mind, open your heart, try to understand each other, and try to use as little hate speech or no hate speech at all. Thank you once again for joining us. As I said, recording will be available. Thank for all our audience for their questions, comments, following us. And I want to invite all of you to join us on the 25th in the same time for our last webinar in this series, when we were discussing about hate speech and its connection to the freedom of religion of belief, which I'm sure will be once again very interesting topic. So thank you again, and we are looking forward to see you on some of our next occasions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well
Thank
done.
you. Bye bye. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to